Whether or not aliens exist is a topic riddled with both conjecture and overall lack of evidence. Unfortunately, for those lucky enough to explore the YouTube trending page, this often results in the spread of a variety of conspiracy theories ranging from mass government cover-ups to the true purpose of Area 51. Suffice to say, everyone is interested to know whether the world is being invaded by little green men, which is what makes the recent leaks intriguing. But what do we really know about these leaked videos that were apparently captured by the United States Navy? And do they prove once and for all that aliens actually exist? Well, whether you're a fan of science fiction or just want to know more about the possibility of us being alone in the universe, stay right where you are, as we're about to explore everything there is to know about the Pentagon's alleged verification of alien life. So strap yourselves in and get ready for a bumpy ride, as things are about to get interesting. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. The question of the existence of alien life. As any professional or amateur astrophysicist will tell you, the universe we live in is pretty large. In fact, even with our current technological advances, it would be impossible to move across the extensive layout of our very own galaxy. And considering how the Milky Way galaxy is nothing but a speck on the overall layout of the universe, it makes sense to view the universe as being infinite in size and ever expanding. This is why a great many scientists have concluded that there has to be some or other form of life out there, other than human beings. The probability of us being alone in this crazy universe is, after all, next to impossible. But that doesn't necessarily mean that alien life has made its way to Earth. In fact, the belief in this theory appears to be conspiratory in nature, as it depends on large governmental organizations lying to all of its citizens. And while this would be nothing new, with the government already having lied in a variety of different situations, it's in these various global organizations lying together in which we see some cracks starting to develop. With just how much the United States seems to hate China at the moment, wouldn't they essentially use this information to get ahead by painting the other as the bad guy, or vice versa? Either way, let's take a look at this leak and see what it means for our belief that we aren't the only ones in the massive universe we call home. America's aliens. As we mentioned earlier, the existence of aliens has always been a topic of discussion, with everyone knowing at least someone who believes that extraterrestrial life has visited Earth. Even former President Barack Obama played with this question when he first took office. According to his interview on The Late Late Show with James Corden a few weeks ago, Obama admitted that he too had questions regarding whether the government was keeping aliens secret from the rest of the world. And as it turns out, it wasn't. Unless, as President of the United States, he wasn't privy to that information, which we doubt. That being said, the United States has always been on the hunt for unidentified flying objects, or UFOs as they have come to be known, with this interest being quite serious at the end of the day. You see, the existence of UFOs doesn't specifically prove the existence of aliens. As per the definition of the term, UFO refers to a flying object that simply cannot be identified. So when the United States government comes across an object flying in their airspace which is not theirs, this is termed a UFO and noted as such. This is incredibly important in the context of proving the existence of aliens on Earth, as many refer to the existence of UFOs and aliens as being synonymous with one another. It goes without saying that the Pentagon has confirmed that UFOs do indeed exist, which we'll get to in a little while. But as we stated earlier, this should not be interpreted to mean that the Pentagon believes that there is proof that aliens exist. With a huge number of terrible home videos featuring UFOs coming out of the United States, it's no wonder the government is so concerned about what is going on in its skies. At the very worst, this could serve as proof of an attacking nation, whether it be China or Russia, which is why every incident needs to be investigated regardless of whether or not it looks to be real. As it turns out, the government works on a policy of rather being safe than sorry. So when Congress passed the $2.3 trillion omnibus appropriations bill in December of last year, it went on to include a requirement that the Pentagon and a number of other intelligence agencies prepare a report laying out what they know about UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UFOs as we prefer to call them. But before the report was released, a couple of United States Navy pilots had something important to share: the leaked information. Information suggesting the existence of extraterrestrials is nothing new. In fact, there are some well-known examples that have become known as the FLIR, Go Fast, and Gimbal videos, which have been teasing believers for the past 3 years or so. Videos such as these have been taken from infrared weapons cameras and often show apparently unexplainable phenomena which are interpreted by many many to mean that aliens live among us. And it's within this context that the new leak took place, which comes in the form of an infrared video showing a UFO flying into the ocean near San Diego. Although nothing was reported to have crashed in the ocean nearby the city back then, conspiracists have suggested that the government could have easily covered an investigation such as this up. In the video, we see one of the US Navy stealth ships tracking a black dot in the sky. By looking at the video, at first glance you notice that the dot is moving around pretty erratically, almost as if it's trying to avoid detection. The black dot then makes a dive and disappears from view, which according to commentators taking the video means that the UFO must have crashed into the sea. You then hear the Navy officer in question exclaiming that the bearing and range of the crash have been marked, but the video ends before the ship is able to investigate any further. The footage was apparently leaked by Jeremy Corbell, who released another video of a UFO last month which was taken with a night vision camera. Although out of focus due to the exposure, watching this video introduces viewers to an upside-down pyramid-shaped UFO which can be seen hovering above a Navy destroyer. The Pentagon then went on to add fuel to the fire by announcing that these videos had indeed been taken by Navy personnel and that the images and videos would be investigated by a government task force on unidentified aerial phenomenon who would brief Congress on what they had found in June. Suffice to say, this caused a number of alien enthusiasts to hold their hands up high, exclaiming that the truth was finally going to be known. A recent 60-minute segment also included interviews with two former Navy pilots who were behind the recording known as the FLIR UFO. As it turns out, they still truly believe that they encountered something alien that day and are quite sure that the Pentagon UFO report is going to convince the rest of the world that they aren't crazy. And that's where the number one problem seems to come in. There is such a stigma attached to those who have seen UFOs in the air around them that the vast majority of these people are called dumb and ignored without further investigation. Essentially, this leads to conversations like this is happening behind closed doors, resulting in a number of conspiracy theories that spread like wildfire. So when the Pentagon ensured that their investigation would be made public, people from all belief systems cheered, as once and for all this report was going to bring the conversation out into the open. The release of the Pentagon UFO report. But unfortunately for those who have a solid belief in alien existence, this report wasn't exactly the most helpful piece of information out there. According to the report, the evidence was clear. UFOs or UAPs do indeed exist, but there is no evidence to suggest that any of these phenomenon were alien in nature. It was also confirmed that the Navy videos in question were indeed taken by Navy personnel and that these videos had not been doctored in any way, which to a certain extent was considered to be a win for believers. What else could have moved in such an erratic way at such high speeds after all? Well, the Pentagon UFO report had an answer for this as well, as did a number of debunking scientists on YouTube before the report had even been presented. Since the video in question was taken with the use of an infrared weapons camera, it goes without saying that it was viewing things in accordance with the infrared spectrum of light. And as those of you familiar with the functionality of these types of cameras will be able to attest to, they only capture that which is riddled with heat. This means that while we saw the UFO as a black dot, this isn't necessarily what it would have looked like to the naked eye. In fact, it's possible that the aircraft in question, if it indeed was an aircraft, was simply showing up as a dot due to the heat from its engine source. A better suggestion has been that the black dot was nothing more than a bird that was being filmed from a great distance away. In respect of the erratic behavior of the UFO, many have turned to the filmmaking to suggest that it was made to look a lot more erratic than it was. The sway of the camera from left to right actually made the UFO appear to be darting, where in actual fact it was flying in a straight direction, similar to what you would see from a bird. And in explanation of the disappearance of this black dot, many have proposed the theory that it disappeared from view after it had dived into the ocean. The ocean then would have robbed this biological life form of heat, causing it to disappear from the view of an infrared camera. So is it possible that this UFO was nothing more than a bird hunting for fish near San Diego? Absolutely. But many have unfortunately taken the Pentagon's confirmation of UFOs to mean that they have confirmed the existence of aliens, whereas in truth, nothing alien-like has been confirmed, at least not yet. What do you think? Feel free to let us know in the comment section down below.